All right, so today I wanted to touch on everybody not wanting to work. So, first thing I wanted to do is start with a conversation I was having with my mom. So, my mom just retired at 65, years of service, well, working, and I think she worked 13 years at her last company right before she retired. And even she was like, I'm done with this working thing. Like, let me get retirement. My brain hurts from all of this work and answering phones and dealing with people and all of the stuff that she had to do with her job. But basically, like, I'm done with working. And I don't necessarily see why most or other people can't feel that way. I'll put myself there. I don't necessarily be wanting to work some of the jobs that I've had, especially in the past, whenever I was working for uh, Moe's Southwest Grill, which is just a restaurant that sells Mexican food. Bojangles, which is a lot out on the East Coast. I'm from Charlotte, North Carolina, so that's one of the places out there. It's kind of like Popeyes or even like a Chick-fil-A, but with more seasoning and stuff like that. But I worked warehouse before, and I can tell you for pretty much all of those menial jobs that most people normally have in the high school times. But of course, I saw plenty of people in their 30s and 40s whenever I was up in there working. Don't nobody want to do that, not on a long-term basis. And now I work in construction estimating and project management. I make well over six figures now, at least. But even that, sitting in some office, being asked to do this, that, or the third, can be a lot for some people who would rather spend their time on a beach in the Caribbean somewhere, or out in Ireland, or in Japan somewhere, chilling on some laptop doing some work like that. But why would you want, like, to me, especially certain jobs, like let's say you're a ditch digger. All ditch digging, if you a hard worker, a ditch digging is going to get you is a broke up back and some high blood pressure. Like, and a lot of these jobs are out here like this. Like, if you working in a warehouse lifting stuff constantly, in work in the heat, doing this, that, or the third, that can be rough. But again, coming from someone who makes six figures, who sits in an office all day, even that mentally on your brain can be taxing and make you want to get out of there, out of that life, out of just coming in for someone else's dream to make their stuff possible, basically, and not working towards your own. Which I definitely say one of the things that helped my mindset was just the smallest things that I was doing for myself. And of course, now I have an LLC and I'm doing stuff entrepreneurial wise, but that definitely helped me from only thinking about the fact that at any time, any one of these jobs that have no loyalty to you can let you go at any point in time, any day of the week, no matter where you're at, whether you're older or younger. And it's worse, of course, if you're a lot older, in your 50s or something like that, trying to look for a job at that time and not knowing where things are going to go, which I'm glad my mom was able to get out when she did at her time in those 13 years and not get laid off during any of the times, because she didn't necessarily have the straightest, guess, path. And I definitely haven't either, from layoffs in my career path in the estimating and project management. But why don't people want to work? What are you working towards? What are you working for? Like, you're working around bosses who you don't necessarily care for, supervisors, all of that, and you're working to make their lives better and all of that. Like, and then the other side, especially if we're talking about younger people not wanting to work. When you see influencers and everyone else who has the ability to just kind of lay around, sit around, and make their lives, even though I know that obviously being a creator, that it's not just that per se, but if that's all you see and you're seeing that they're also able to live their lives, and then you go down the street and you look at a McDonald's or look at some guys outside working on some construction somewhere, they don't necessarily seem like they have the best lives, and why would you want to sign up for that? You know? But it's definitely not for everybody to just straight work till you die, basically, because that's the mentality. And that's kind of what I ended up realizing. Like, I'm 28 now. I didn't necessarily think about things this way whenever I was 18, but basically, like, you get into some sort of career and then you just work it. Okay, maybe not until you die, until you retire. But then again, though, we have the whole retirement crisis going on with, right now, I think it's baby boomers that aren't able to be able to retire at the rates that they should be able to, and has historically been the norm. And so they're getting pushed back out into the workforce. And so really, especially for those guys that you tried to go to retirement, you realize that there isn't enough money there. I mean, it's at this point, maybe, especially with compounding things not being where they were back whenever you were in your 20s or 30s, it's working till you die. It's working. You're gonna see old people at, like, for instance, Walmart greeters and secretary everywhere else. You're just gonna see these people get put back in society. This job thing is definitely is not as easy as I thought the trail and the path would be. Because you gotta think about it, like, I didn't necessarily go for a degree, but how do you tell the woman who studied for immunology, got her PhD in that, and then got laid off, or the software developer that was just making $250,000 a year and they're getting just kind of thrown to the wind and laid off? And then you wonder why people don't want to work, because they see this stuff. Like, this layoff stuff isn't new. 2008, we all know that, right around the all of those people getting laid off, and then now it's happening again. People are aware. 2008 wasn't that long ago, even for me, and I'm only 28 years old. So it's, what do you want to do? What do you actually want to work on, work for, work towards, versus some menial job or just whatever out here? And one of the things that I've been doing on my page is promoting estimating and project management, especially leading on the estimating side, because you can just be sitting in an office. I make over 6 figures right now at this point, and I've been in for, at this point, 5 years, at least in the civilian world, and I did a little bit of this in the Air Force before that. But just promoting it, because it's something almost like a fix, I feel like. Like, you don't need some sort of bachelor's to get in, or some higher degree. You don't need to be the smartest person necessarily ever, or great other than really at math and maybe just being able to sit still and sit on a computer somewhere. I think you can even have some sort of record according to what it is. I got a DUI back in 2017 whenever I was visiting Arizona on vacation from Anchorage, Alaska. But I've been an estimator again for the past 5 years. So I think it's something that people can and should look at, because again, the other flip side to a lot of people is these warehouse jobs, these fast food jobs, stuff that don't nobody want to do. That's why nobody was trying to do it. Like, that's it should be almost obvious. Like, why don't people want to work? Because they don't want to do the crap. Like, if you I mean, I have done all of that crap, and it's not that been that long since I was down bad in some of these situations, making $7.25 an hour or $7.25 an hour. For me, that was 10 years ago, because I'm 28. I was at 18 making that. So like it's not been that long for me, but other people might have been in the office somewhere making above six figures like I do now for years, for decades, and they're just like these young people don't want to work. But do you want to do the stuff that they have to do? Have you been in any of these places trying to do some of this work, trying to see the sights, smell the smells, deal with these customers, deal with crappy bosses and like people who aren't necessarily trained in leadership and skills and all of this stuff, that just got the job because of their brother or sister or whatever in some of these warehouses like that, and they're leading you and they're supposed to be facilitating your time, and it's crappy because people sleeping with people, talking about people, doing this, that, or the third, and that's just I mean, that's a lot of jobs, honestly, not just some warehouse or some fast food job, but it's real. People don't have money. People can't pay rent or for their groceries or for their car notes and stuff like that. And but at the same time, on the flip side of it is that it's really crappy jobs out here. And I mean, maybe if you can lean towards something, one of the things that I've been thinking about and wanting to kind of give out, because it's simple, it's easy, it's not necessarily that expensive to do, but if you have any skill that you have, whatever that is, whatever you do on a normal basis, you can make an ebook about it and post that online, probably on an Etsy or some other platform like that, to where you can send that knowledge out and get paid for it, help other people get up into the position, especially if you're one of these people trying to figure out why is there nobody working, why is everybody lazy, these young kids and stuff like that. Send out your knowledge so that it can kind of get a little boost in their career to get closer to where you are and to get closer to being able to or willing to work somewhere. Maybe tell them about your salary. Like for instance, me working in construction, estimating, and project management, I make well over six figures. So whatever it is, if you have breathing techniques, if you know how to make great sandwiches, do hair, if you know how to keep people from stop drinking, or you got your life together after you had to serve some time or something like that, or overcome something large like a kid dying or like a divorce, if you've bought a house, if you've lost a house, if you went from broke to having some money and being somewhat stable, whatever it is, write it down, use your phone to do a speech to text, make it into an ebook form, and make some money for yourself, but also put it out there for other people to learn from you. Specifically, people want to know, people are willing to pay for college. We all know the education system and the price in there. People are willing to learn, and this is something that can maybe help or take over the need for you to have a job. Working hard isn't necessarily the only way to get there. It's definitely been the story of my life for most of it, but I'm also leaning into the entrepreneurial journeyship, or that journey for myself. And I've already seen people who have made it to the other side of that and have made a much better life for themselves and aren't necessarily in that same position. But entrepreneurship is also hard, and it's also not for everybody. But yeah, maybe people sharing more as even a creator about their own jobs, about what salary they make, what they're doing, can help other people to get somewhere, be willing to do something. Because again, fast food, warehouse, Lyft, all of these gig apps, a lot of this stuff is just not where it's at. So I just wanted to put my little 2 cents into the conversation. Let me know, like, comment, subscribe. Again, my name is Nick, 28, born and raised in Charlotte, currently living out here in Phoenix, Arizona. And that's it.